Let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking some absolutely fascinating teachings from Swami Sri Ramsukh Dasji. We're looking at the simple yet literally immense power of the name Ram. You know, if you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by the sheer volume of spiritual rules, the complex rituals, and all the endless requirements out there, well, this is going to be incredibly refreshing. We're exploring how just two simple syllables hold what's considered to be the absolute pinnacle of divine power. It's like taking something incredibly vast and condensing it into a practice that is just so accessible.
So, what if the ultimate spiritual power was as simple as just opening and closing your mouth? It's a great question, right? It immediately reframes a common word into a deeply sensory physical experience that literally anyone, anywhere can tap into. We usually think of high-level spirituality as requiring extreme physical endurance or decades of complex study. But what Swamiji points out here is that the architecture for divine connection, it's actually built right into the basic biological function of speaking.
To really understand the stakes here, we have to look at what this simple chant actually achieves, and that is Sugati. Now, Sugati isn't just a fleeting moment of peace. It's the absolute highest spiritual state, ultimate salvation, supreme perfection. It's described as a state of being where no sorrow can possibly reach you, a place where no further spiritual profit or gain is even possible because, well, you've already attained everything. That is the massive claim being made about what this single word can deliver.
Section 1. The nectar of Ram and the phonetics of satiation. Let's look at how the actual sounds of the word mirror physical nourishment.
It's brilliant when you break down the physical vocalization of the word. Saying Ra is like opening your mouth to take in divine sweetness, and Ma is closing it in absolute total satisfaction. Think about the physical act of eating your favorite meal. When the food approaches, your mouth opens, right? That's the Ra. And when you've tasted it, swallowed, and you feel completely full and content, your mouth closes. That's the Ma. Swamiji likens this to spiritual nectar or Sudha. You're literally mirroring the physical act of consumption and total satiation, but entirely on a spiritual level.
And here's where it gets really interesting. Once you taste this spiritual nectar, the desire for worldly sins, impure actions, and mindless materialistic greed, it just naturally falls away. You don't have to force yourself to be good or constantly fight worldly desires through sheer willpower. The text explains that right now, internal impurities and worldly obsessions kind of feel good to us, but only because our internal state is, well, dusty. But once you introduce the ultimate sweetness of this divine name, those lesser tastes of the material world, like greed or unjust behavior, they just automatically lose their appeal.
Section 2. Ultimate power in Kali Yuga, where all rituals are distilled into one name. Let's look at why this matters so much in our current era.
This quote from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu perfectly captures the theology here. In the name, God has placed all of his power. You see, in past ages, spiritual attainment required intense, flawless execution of highly complex processes. But recognizing the limitations, the shortened lifespans, and the generally chaotic nature of our current age, the Kali Yuga, the divine made an incredible concession. All the power was taken from those difficult methods and injected straight into the name itself.
What this actually means is that all the scattered powers of massive, time-consuming traditional religious rituals are now effortlessly accessible through simple chanting. Think about holy pilgrimages, bathing in sacred rivers, building elaborate temples, or conducting complex fire rituals like yajnas and havans. Those take immense wealth, time, and crazy logistical coordination. But the text asserts that the exact same spiritual merit generated by all of those exhausting activities is completely captured and instantly available to you just by chanting Ram.
Section 3. No rules. Universal access. Breaking down all spiritual barriers. In a world full of gatekeepers, this is a truly revolutionary idea.
The text highlights a really great story from the Santupanishad. The great sage Narad Muni directly asks Lord Brahma for the proper methodology and the strict rules for chanting this Kali Yuga mantra. Narad Muni is looking down at the people on earth, seeing their struggles, and he wants to know the exact, precise, flawless method to ensure they chant the mantra correctly to achieve salvation. He's fully expecting a long, complicated list of rules.
But Lord Brahma gives this incredibly powerful, liberating answer. He simply says, Na asti viti. There are no rules. None. If Brahma had prescribed a rigid method, it would have immediately disqualified the vast majority of humanity. I mean, most of us are simply too busy or too stressed out to follow strict protocols, right?
So we have zero barrier, universal access.
There are no time restrictions, do it morning, noon, or night. No gender restrictions, no caste barriers whatsoever, and it's openly available to both pure saints and absolute sinners alike. This confirms chanting is a universal inheritance that every single person has a rightful claim to. You don't have to wait for the perfect astrological hour. The text beautifully points out that a child doesn't need to earn the right to use their father's name, right? It's their birthright. In the exact same way, this divine name belongs to you, purely by right of your existence.
Section 4. Saving time for devotion and the extreme diet of a devotee. Let's look at what this zero-barrier access actually looks like in practice.
Meet Sri Buddha Ramji Maharaj of Jodhpur. Here's a devotee seeking maximum chanting time, a man so absolutely dedicated that he literally viewed chewing food as a tragic waste of time. He lived with his mother, and once he received these spiritual teachings, he became entirely consumed by the practice. He wanted to minimize absolutely every single second he spent not chanting.
His devotion escalated to such an amazing degree that he downgraded his diet step by step just to save the few seconds it takes to chew. Seriously. First, he told his mother to stop making roti because chewing the flatbread took too long. So step 2, she switched to khichdi, a soft porridge. But the khichdi stayed hot for too long, meaning he had to sit and wait for it to cool, which was more wasted time. Finally, step 3, he requested rabri, a simple liquid meal made from flour. Why? Because once it cooled, he could just gulp it down instantly in seconds. It completely bypassed the need to chew, allowing him to immediately return to his chanting. It's a humorous story for sure, but it powerfully demonstrates a mind entirely captivated by spiritual nectar over physical taste.
Section 5. Hands work, mouth chants. Bringing it into daily life.
Swamiji offers us this stunning poetic visual here. He compares the tongue of a devotee to the nurturing lap of Mother Yashoda. For a bit of context, Mother Yashoda is the deeply loving foster mother of Lord Krishna. She represents the ultimate, pure, unconditionally loving space. Goswamiji is basically saying that when you dedicate yourself to this name, your very tongue transforms into that sacred, nurturing space.
And building on that beautiful metaphor, the syllables Ra and Ma are compared to the divine brothers, Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram. Just as the two divine brothers played happily in Yashoda's lap, the sounds of Ra and Ma dance gracefully and joyfully directly on the tongue of the person chanting. It totally removes the stiffness from spiritual practice, doesn't it? It replaces it with a sense of intimate, joyful play.
Which brings us to the highly practical takeaway. There's a beautiful saying, Hath kam, mukh ram hai, hriday sanchi preet. Hands do the work, mouth chants Ram, heart holds true love. You don't need to leave your life to be spiritual. Whether you're managing a busy household or working away in a modern office, stay exactly where you are. Let your hands manage the physical reality of the world, let your mouth engage in the joyful play of the divine name, and let your heart anchor itself in true, authentic love rather than material obsessions.
This leaves us with a fascinating challenge: to seamlessly weave this profound, barrier-free spiritual power into the very fabric of our everyday routines. You don't have to change your zip code, your job, or even your daily schedule to access the high spiritual state. You just have to change that quiet soundtrack playing in the background of your life. So I'll leave you with this final provocative thought as you go about your day. As your hands do the work today, what name will you let play upon your lips?